true love and hot sex. These are the subjects of the life lessons we're going to learn about from the 15th star of Vedic Astrology, Anurādhā, Love's Reward. In this series, Life Lessons of the Vedic Nakshatra, we'll discover how life really works by exploring the 27 constellations through the mystical Sanskrit words of the Vedic Nakshatra Sutra. Hello, welcome back to the 15th episode of our Life Lessons from the Vedic Nakshatra series. What we're doing in this series is extracting the wisdom of the Vedas through these descriptions of the 27 nakshatras or star clusters given in the Taittiriya Brahmana's Nakshatra Sutra. And the way we start each one is we listen to the Sanskrit of the original sutra. Mitrasyam Radha Abhyarohat Prasthat Abhyarudham Avasthat Mitrasyam Radha Abhyarohat Prasthat Abhyarudham Avasthat. Mitrasyan Radha Abhyarohat Prastat Abhyarudham Avastat. The reward of love's expression needs the power of arousal to reach climax. So this is obviously a hot, juicy sutra. And let's look at the words that are involved here. We have 4 key words. The first one is mitra. The word mitra means the instrument, tra, of unity, unification, mit. Mit means unification and tra means the instrument. So a thing that brings other things together can be called mitra. This word mitra is always used to refer to friendship, love, and communion. It's very similar to the word for sex, which is mitun. Mitra, mitun. It means coming together, joining. So you can guess that this nakshatra, Anurādhā, is going to have an awful lot to do with love, partnership, union, unification. The next word we want to look at is Anurādhā, the name of the nakshatra itself. It's based on the word Radha, which is another way of saying love, but it specifically means the expression of love, the way that you please somebody by showing your love for them. That's what the word Radha means. And the prefix Anu indicates some sort of a sequence, something following something else. So the word Anurādhā means something that follows love, something that comes from love, the result of love. And so that's the name of the nakshatra, love's reward, love's result. The next important word is Abhyarohat. It's a kind of a longer word, but it's based on the word Aroha. Aroha means to rise up. And so Abhyarohat means the act of arousing things, the ability to powerfully stimulate, bring things higher. It's a very sexual connotation word, just like the rest of the sutra. Mitra, the unification; Anurādhā, the expression of love; Abhyarohat, the stimulation, the arousal. The word aroha refers to hips, refers to the erect male organ. It refers to big boobs, voluptuous shapes, things which are very not flat. So the sutra is very, very juicy. And then the 4th word in it is Abhyarudham. It's very similar to Abhyarohat. Abhyarohat means the ability to bring something high, to arouse it. And Abhyarudham means the ability to reach the climax, to reach the highest state. Arudha means something which has been completed, consummated. The zenith has been attained. The highest point has been attained. So climax is a very good English word for it because it's connected with climb and reaching higher. The reward of love's expression is to reach climax. Right? What's an expression of love? Sex. So what's the reward of sex? Climax, orgasm. But how do you get there? Through arousal. That's what the sutra is saying. So it seems very simple on the surface, just a basic description of sex. But let's see what this tells us interpretively, and let's see what kind of amazing life lessons this reveals to us if we really get deep into this. So usually I just draw one life lesson from each sutra, but this subject is so interesting that let's take 3 life lessons from it. One is about love. The sutra will teach us a life lesson about love. The other one is about sex. So we're going to learn a life lesson about sex also. And the third thing is the relationship between love and sex. And let's start with that one, actually. So what the sutra tells us about the relationship between sex and love is that union, the sex part, which is mitra, the coming together, the copulation, the coupling, that is the way that love expresses itself, Anurādhā. Love expresses itself through mitra. Unification is the natural outcome of love. Unification doesn't always have to literally be sexual intercourse. Literal sexual intercourse is the most extreme expression of the unification. And it comes from the most extremely intensified passion of the love. But no matter what intensity or flavor of the love, the way that it will be expressed will always be some type of mitra, some type of coming together, some type of unification. Whether it's kissing, hugging, holding hands, sharing ideas even, or just being together, doing similar things together. These are all ways of coming together. So no matter what type or flavor or intensity of love, it always expresses itself in some variety of sex, which means some variety of unification of parties. So that's the relationship between sex and love, is that love expresses itself as sex. Love expresses itself as the unification of parties, unification of partners. When you understand this relationship, then you learn the second life lesson. It's a very important thing about sex. And so the promise of sex is climax. The promise of sex is orgasm. The promise of sex is pleasure. However, the life lesson that we get from the sutra is you can't expect to get that promise fulfilled. You can't expect to get the pleasure and happiness from the sex or from whatever expression of love it is, from the holding hands. It won't generate the pleasure that you expect unless it's actually an expression of love. If there's not real, genuine love or radha being expressed, then the mitra is hollow. And what you experience from that hollow mitra, from that hollow intercourse, from that hollow communion, is not satisfying. You won't feel satiated, satisfied, pleased. You'll feel aggravated. You'll have the sensation of being irritated because you've been aroused but not really fulfilled. It becomes very frustrating because you're engaged in the act which is so close to the thing that you want and need. It's so close to delivering the pleasure, yet the pleasure and happiness remain so elusive. So you find that sex without love, or expressions of love without true love, are actually really frustrating. That's another important thing to know about sex. Don't expect to get pleasure out of it unless you're actually expressing love. Now, on the other hand, the sutra also teaches us something else about sex, that it's not all love. That love requires some art. It's not that love automatically produces the pleasure of sex. There has to be some thought and care and art put into how you express it. That's what this word abhyarohat is all about. It's the art of stimulating the desires of the beloved. Love is the ability to satisfy the desires of the beloved. That's how love is expressed, by satisfying the desires of the beloved. If you can't stimulate desires in the beloved that you have the ability to fulfill, then you're not going to be very good at doing that. So abhyarohat is the art of love. It's the ability to stimulate and arouse. That's a very important thing. And finally, the sutra teaches us a lesson about love itself, which happens to also be a lesson about happiness itself, the most important subject in life. So the great mystery and most sublime thing of all is that the way to get happiness is not to strive for our own happiness, but to strive to please someone else. That's what the word Radha means, the act or expression of trying to please someone. The amazing thing is that Radha produces Anurādhā, which means joy. this is a mind blower. How is it that I'm going to achieve happiness? Not by trying to achieve happiness, but by trying to make someone else achieve happiness. That's the mystery. But the very tricky thing about this mystery is that when you try to practice it, when you try to put it into practice, it fails. Almost always. It fails very easily. Because this formula, the formula that the sutra is expressing for love to work, involves mitra as well as radha. It's not just the selfless act of trying to please your beloved. There has to be mitra. There has to be the bond of true love between the two people. If both the parties involved in the expression are bound together, mitra, in genuine and sincere love, then you will get that magic, that incredible joy and happiness out of the expressions of the love, out of giving yourself to the beloved, out of surrendering yourself entirely to the beloved's wishes and whims. That will ruin you if you're not bound together, both parties, in a compact of true, genuine love. But if you are bound together in true, genuine love, then that surrender and complete giving unlocks the highest level of joy. So the weaker the bond of mitra, the weaker the genuineness and sincerity and depth of the love, the less well the magic of Anurādhā works, and the more prone it is to actually backfire and produce intense misery. So there you go. What an incredible sutra. We learned the relationship between love and sex is that sex is just the expression of love, and sex is just the act of unification of two beings. We learned that sex can't be good without the love because it's an expression of love. But we also learned that sex can't be good without some care and thought put into how to stimulate the desires that you can actually fulfill to make the beloved satisfied. And then finally we learned about love itself, that it's the act of giving yourself to somebody else. But if the compact between that person and you is not mitra, then it will backfire and produce misery instead of joy. So these are super important lessons, and I hope all of us will deliberate on these deeply for the rest of our lives and learn about these things and grow towards deeper understanding of these things as we progress through our lives. So stay tuned for next week's Nakshatra Jyeshta. Everybody's been asking me about that one. What am I going to say for that one? So that's coming next week. Stay tuned. Subscribe to my channel. I do live YouTube sessions once a week on Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. And I do this taped video once a week also, usually midweek. And right now I'm doing this series on Nakshatra. So subscribe and stay tuned so you don't miss this stuff, because it's good stuff. Don't miss the life lessons from the other 26 star clusters of Vedic astrology. Subscribe to my channel now. And keep your ears up for announcements about the release of this book and the next online classes about it. Thanks.